What up, my dudes? It's been a while since the last video. I've been getting home super late from work, so I haven't had time to work on any of the cars, but I do have some time right now to work on the Skyline. I haven't even driven the Skyline around because I haven't had time to do something that I should have done months ago once I got the car, which is basic maintenance. The list isn't that big. It's mainly just fluids, oil change, because I don't think this oil has ever been changed ever since my brother took ownership like 5 or 6 years ago. Fuel filter, the same thing. I don't think it's ever been changed. And the coolant. Well, to be fair, it really hasn't been driven as much during his ownership, and in the 3 months that I've owned it, I put like 700 miles, which isn't that much either. On top of doing the coolant, we're also going to be putting in a new coil radiator. We love coil around here, so of course every car here has to get a coil. This car still has a stock radiator and it's not leaking from anywhere, but I don't want to leave it up to chance. I don't want this cracking at the worst time possible, so we're just going to go ahead and upgrade the radiator. And the number one thing I'm not looking forward to is the spark plugs, because look at all of this mess that we got to take off before we can even take off the spark plug cover. The more I look at this engine bay, the more I want to just rip everything out and just simplify everything. Get a front forward facing intake manifold, get a top mount manifold and turbo, and get rid of this EGR stuff and get this intercooler piping made to go from this side over here, because right now this thing has the same side intercooler and it's really small, and when it comes time to make some power on this thing, I don't know if it's going to cut it or not. For the past 3 weeks, I've just been running numbers in my head over and over again as if it's the amount's going to change on how much doing all that would cost. Getting a new engine harness and maybe like getting rid of the Hicus power steering pump and trying to figure out like if I could swap it out for like a KA SR1 or something else, because it's so big and in this engine bay it takes up a lot of room. And eventually I do want to convert this R32 steering rack over to a 180 SX one to simplify things, because it still has all the Hicus stuff and it's a lot of lines and mess that I just want to get rid of. I want to make this thing as simple as I can. But then the adult side of me says to just leave everything alone, just do the maintenance on it and drive it as it is, because I don't know if you guys know this, but this was not originally the car that I meant to replace my JZX81 that had caught fire a couple months ago. This kind of just fell into my hands and I'm happy it's here. I love it. I've fallen in love with it, and that's why I want to do all this stuff to it. But I told myself I was just going to keep this simple, that way I can still save on the side for the original replacement for the JZX81. And on top of that, I still have the S14 to deal with. That thing needs a retune and a lot of stuff to be a complete car, and I'm not made of money, so I gotta stretch my finances through 3 cars, and I don't know what the hell I want to do. This is why you don't take on a bunch of project cars at the same time. Anyways, my bad, I'm just venting at this point. But also I found this is a PBM oil drain plug. I mean, now that I look at it, I think it's just a generic freaking eBay one, but whatever. I have this to put on because that thing still has a stock oil drain plug. This thing uses a really big oil filter. Okay, so after doing a quick Google research, it says that the SR one is the same as the RB. I don't know if that's true, because look at the size of this little box and look at the size of that filter. That thing's massive. So what I'm going to do is take off that filter and put it side by side with this filter and check the O-rings. And if they're the same, then I will check to see if this threads onto there. I've got the old one out, and the gasket, or the O-ring, I'm sorry, it looks really small compared to the size of the filter. So that's good news. But then I looked at the OEM one and look at the tiny O-ring. All right, here's a moment of truth. Let's see if this lines up. Ooh, all right. This is gonna work. So this SR20 filter does fit. Here's the part number. It does thread onto the stud, but there is something really concerning to the point where I'm not going to be using this filter. So the old filter, can you see how this bulges outwards and the threads start almost exactly where the O-ring starts? So once you put this on, it threads in all the way in, and this one right here, it's concaved and it only engages like the very last bit of the threads on the stud on the side of the engine block, and it only has like a turn and a half worth of thread. I don't feel comfortable putting this on with only a turn and a half worth of the thread engagement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the new filter on, the SR21 on, just for now, just so the block doesn't stay exposed. And I'm going to take a picture of the old filter and try to cross-reference and hit AutoZone tomorrow and see if I can grab a replacement one that doesn't have the problem the OEM SR21 has. If you guys want to cross-reference online yourselves, this is the brand MicroGuard. I've never even heard of this brand, but this is the part number, so you can take that and cross-reference online. It's annoying, and oil change should not have to be this time-consuming and this difficult, but it's my first time working on an RB and learning and finding out what works, what doesn't, and I think the internet lied on this one. I don't think that you really can use it S14 for reference. This is an S14 SR20 oil filter. Next up is the oil filter, and I'm having all sorts of dumb because I completely forgot to even order a fuel filter for this car. But luckily I ordered two when I bought one for the SR on the S14, and that is the one I'm going to be putting into this thing. It looks like your standard Z32 fuel filter, and luckily that's the one that I have. Where is it? Right here. For reference, this is the old filter with the new one, and looks like this one was a Wix. This is a part number in case you guys want to grab your own from the auto parts store. The new fuel filter is in, but I had a hard time getting the factory hose over the barb fitting on the fuel filter. And just for reference, this is an ISR one, and I don't know if I'll ever be using this one again for that reason. It was really hard to get it on. I had to get like WD-40, spray some on, and really shove that hose onto that fitting. The damn cats are back. There you go. There he goes running. Where are you? Bro, these freaking cats meow and fucking fight all night and wake me up in the middle of the night. So anytime one comes by, I gotta scare it away. It's been a week or two since that last clip where I took off the oil filter, and I ended up getting that MicroGuard brand, which is actually an O'Reilly's brand. And I look at the other cross-reference filters that they had, and there was a K&N one. I forget what part number it was, but I couldn't use it because it had the exact same concave problem that the S14 SR20 oil filter had. Also, I already know I'm gonna get this question. What oil did I use? Well, I looked to the interwebs and I saw what the Australian guys were using, because those guys know their RBs in and out, and they were saying anything around 1050 to 1060. I didn't have time to go to the parts store, so this is what I had in the garage. I used 1540, and I think this should be all right for now. I'm not going to be doing any drifting just yet, so if the time comes when I'm ready to do that, then I'll go ahead and use the 1050, 1060, and I'll probably have to order it online because not a lot of parts stores carry that. And who knows, maybe I'll just stick with this because I use Rotella on everything. I kid you not, I use it on my 1J, I use it on my SR, I even use it in my Duramax. I thought I was going to have time to do the spark plugs and the radiator in this video, but I think I'm going to save that for another time. The coil can wait, and I have something that I ordered online where I have to take all of this off already, so I'm going to wait to do all that at the same time. I know not much happened in this video. It was very uneventful, but a small step forward is still a step forward, and at least this car is happy now with its new filters. But little by little, the Skyline is getting all its new parts. A lot of this stuff is, I know it looks like a mess, but a lot of it is new parts that are going to go onto this thing. Hopefully we see you guys in the next one, but until then, take care guys.